Welcome to the Growth with AI podcast, hosted by Integrated AI Services. I'm Peter Martinson, and today's episode dives into how AI is revolutionizing creative storytelling and brand production. Our guest is Mark Labriola II, founder and CEO of Brand Viva Media, a full-service creative agency helping organizations bring their stories to life through video, design, and digital strategy. We'll explore how Mark and his team are integrating AI into their production pipeline from concept to post-production, how automation is reshaping client collaboration, and how creativity continues to thrive in an AI-driven world. Mark, it's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad I could be here. Shouldn't have rolled out the red carpet for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Mark runs his own podcast and is well versed in how to make a podcast fun. Tell me a story. Like, how did you start doing what you're doing now?
Well, yeah. So it all started. I have a really crazy long story, but the very condensed version of that story is I was in a Christian rock band, and I got to live my dream for a living throughout my 20s. We got signed, and I traveled coast to coast, had songs on the radio, kind of did that. Started the band when I was in high school and never went to college. And then when the band was breaking up, I was like, crap, I have no skills. I've sung my whole life for a living. Like, what am I going to do? And so I picked up a camera and started doing photography and video and started to teach myself graphic design and pretty much everything kind of in the creative arts. And then just got a day job working, so my wife could stay home. Was working my day job. The nights and weekends, I kind of had my side hustle doing photography, video, creative work, and stuff like that. And did that for many, many years. And then I ended up as the creative director for a real estate tech startup here in town. The first week of January of 2016, they had some huge funding not come in, and they laid off half the company. And so I had no severance, no savings. I got 3 kids, a wife, mortgage, and I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to do? So I thought, well, I could go get another director job somewhere, or I could just go all in on my side hustle. And, if it fails, I can say, at least I tried. And so, here we are almost a decade later, and I have a, handful of W-2 employees and several tens, and we have a cool studio here in Denver. And it's all kind of worked out.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you went all in with your photography side hustle and had to start making money pretty fast, I guess?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was one of those things where it was like, feast or famine. I was trying to piece enough money together to pay my mortgage every month. And so, I was taking jobs here for, a family photo shoot or a senior portrait. And then this, company needs an About Us video and some testimonial videos. And this person needs a flyer and a business card. And was just trying to piece together enough work and kind of just kept doing that, working hard. And really, for me, coming from a place of faith, there was this element of just trusting that God was in control and that he was going to provide. So every day I kind of woke up and my mantra kind of became, be present, not worry how things are going to work out, and expect God's blessing.
That's fantastic. Cool. All right. So, how has changed the way Brand Viva Media approaches content production? And, what specific tasks did you transform first?
Yeah. So one of the first things that we started using it for was ideation, like creative ideation of video content. So kind of saying, hey, I'm going to be making these YouTube videos about this particular topic. Can you help me brainstorm some ideas and help me write some scripts? And so we started using it that way. And then I heavily started using it on the admin side, creating proposals and, using it to kind of aggregate all the emails that I had with the client and then telling it, all right, we need to make a proposal about all this. And then it would spit out stuff. So what used to take me hours and hours and hours and days now took me 30 minutes, which was huge, especially for me too. I'm, a very right-brained individual. I don't like detail-oriented stuff. I don't like tedious tasks. And so when AI kind of came on board, like a year and a half ago, really, I kind of really started using it for some of those admin tasks, and it was game changer for me. I was just allowed to have way more freedom time in my day on working on those things I didn't really enjoy. So, and then, as it's gotten better, we slowly started kind of testing it, the voiceover aspect of it. 11 Labs, does a lot of like AI voiceover stuff, which is really good. And now a lot of the platforms have where you can just read the scripts with your own inflection and how you want it to be sound, and then you can change it to a female's voice or a kid's voice or, whatever you want. And so that's been really awesome as well. So we kind of use that, I know. And then simple stuff too, like, our team was working on some headshots for these doctors, and everyone's jackets were all wrinkled. And so we just took the photos in Nano Banana and said, hey, remove all the wrinkles from this jacket. And, it kind of jacks the photo a little bit, but, then you can round trip it back into Photoshop, remove the top layer and keep just the unwrinkled jacket, and it looks real.
Wow, that's really cool. Thanks for that tip.
Yeah, there you go.
But okay, so you're integrating these tools into your workflow, but how do you maintain like a premium brand and human creative feel when you're also using these tools that are not human? Like how do you juggle that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there is an element of I always want to have eyeballs and be really intentional and involved with the content creation, right? So even it's funny because AI is really dumb, and I think that's one of the things that where as smart as it is, it's also really dumb in the sense of, as a human, I can quickly read something. Like the other day, I was reading these specs on this camera, right? And that was put out by Canon. Canon wrote all the specs about it. And so then I went in and wanted to do like an A/B comparison with ChatGPT, like, hey, there's this camera and this camera. Tell me like what are the pros and cons of each camera, right? Well, it started spitting out all this information. And because I knew exactly what the stats were about these cameras, it started saying stuff like, oh, this has an ND filter and blah, blah, blah. And I knew that this camera didn't have an ND filter. And so I'm like, okay, now if I didn't have any world knowledge or experience myself, I would just take that and be like, oh, this is a better camera. Like, AI says it, so I'm going to use it. And then the same thing, it's like birth dates wrong. It does math wrong. You can throw a bunch of your budgets in there, and then it will spit out some number, and you start, calculating things. You're like, this is like $10,000 off of what it actually is. And then you tell it, and it's like, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. It's like, how do you not how to do math? Like, it's like you're apologizing. It's like this shouldn't even been a question. You should have just been able to calculate this. So there's still some stuff there where you can't just trust it 100%. And I think that there's people who don't have a lot of life experience, and maybe they're super young and they don't have a lot of like worldly knowledge, and so they just kind of trust this thing. But I think it becomes a superpower for guys like you and I who are a little bit more seasoned and have some life experience, to where you're using this tool but you have enough world knowledge to kind of balance it and understand what's going on with it, so you can kind of keep it in check.
Yeah, I have learned that you really do need to ask for references so that when you see something and you're like, at least you can go to where it says that it got the information from and
Yeah.
check the reference. So
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
absolutely important. It's yeah, and I've found instances where I'm doing research on a person for a podcast, and it says, well, this is their title, and I'm like, that's odd, and I go, because that's not on LinkedIn, and I can't find that on their website, and so I say, where did you get this person's title? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, they're on LinkedIn. It actually says this. I'm like,
It's like, why
yeah,
didn't you just do that in the first place?
yep. So it'll be nice when. Of course, the better it gets, right? When it gets to the point where it's like 98%,
Hmm.
then are we going to check it behind it as much? Or are we going to get to the point where like, well, gosh, the last 10 times I've checked it, it's been right.
Yeah.
And and then when it is wrong, it'll really, catch you unprepared.
Yeah, and again, they're going to continue to be iterating. They're going to be continually training it. They're obviously going to learn from those kind of things, right? From people like us who are saying like, "Hey, this wasn't right," or and even again, it's like with the whole math thing. It's like, okay, you're a computer. Like math should be like the only thing you know how to do flawlessly, right? Simple, basic math. So I'm sure they'll learn from all those kind of things, and it's gonna get wild. I'll really be curious to see kind of what the world is like in 3 to 5 years, because and the things that people do with it in a positive way, and then also my biggest concern is really in a negative way. In some ways I'm thinking, man, why are they doing photo creation and video creation is like the first things that you see and I'm like, well, I guess if you need to create propaganda, you can just, have AI spin up some videos that look almost real. I mean, I already get fooled, you're on YouTube or Instagram scrolling through and there's like some Ring doorbell video of some crazy thing and it looks so real. And then you're like, wait a second, this is a weird scenario. A leopard is attacking a baby on a porch and a mom is chasing it. Like, that's just not likely. And then you realize like, oh, this was made with AI, but it looks like super real.
Yeah.
Especially,
And of
and
course,
that's what the other thing, like, with those low res videos where it's
yeah.
like doorbell cameras or security cameras, it's hard to tell, like, is this AI or is this real? Because the resolution's so low, it's like, well, even the real thing kind of looks crappy.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest like operational and business model shifts that you've seen since starting to use AI, like for, staffing or turnaround time, or maybe your scope of services has changed a lot? Like, where have you seen the biggest advantages?
Yeah, I think the biggest advantage has really just been being able to do more with less.
Right.
Um, we were kind of in a position where we were at a spot where maybe we needed to hire one more team member, and now with these AI tools, it's kind of like, well, actually, that just bought us some more time before we have to bring somebody else on because now one person can kind of do the job of one and a half people because of all the tools and stuff like that that again just help with social post creation, with copywriting, with a bunch of other types of things that just speed up the workflow and just allow one person to really do the work of one and a half people. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So do you find that you're changing like what you're looking for in a potential employee? Are you looking for people that are more tech oriented, or are you actually looking for people that are more creative oriented because the tech has gotten easier to use?
yeah, I think for me, when I'm looking for somebody, I really want to find somebody who's more tech savvy, right? Like somebody who can get into and then figure out how to solve problems. Because now, you tell somebody, hey, I need X, Y, and Z done, and they can hop on ChatGTP or Perplexity or whatever platform they're using, and they can find solutions to those problems quickly. But if you find somebody who's stuck in the old ways of doing things and they don't really like using technology or AI or something like that, then it's like we're already at a disadvantage and we're moving slower and we're not able to iterate and do more with less. So
Yeah.
yeah, so for me, I really like somebody who's not afraid to experiment and not afraid to just wild out and maybe make some mistakes or whatever, but because they're kind of pushing the bounds of technology and trying to use something at its maximum capacity. It's like for us, as a creative agency, it's always like trying to just solve problems. You have creative problems, you have marketing problems, you have, even when we're on set, for shooting a commercial or doing something where we're in person, it's like, okay, we're just trying to figure out how to solve problems. And so the faster someone can figure out how to do something and solve a problem, just the better we are as a business, and then being able to provide better for our clients and, do things faster and at a higher excellence.
Have you been able to expand your scope of services and the types of work that you offer, or are you just doing what you've always done but faster and better?
Yeah, it's really doing what we've always done faster and better. I haven't really ventured too much into there's an element too where like the tools now you see some of these amazing like commercials that are made all with AI, and um there's these inputs you put in, but again, I kind of want to wait and see like how is this really being used in an actual like paid situation where a client's like paying money, but you have a hobbyist who's, oh, this is cool, and they spend a week making this AI video that looks like a real Coca-Cola commercial or whatever it is. It's like, okay, that's great, but then what happens when the client comes back and says, you know what, I just want to change this little thing here, and then it's like, okay, well, how do we do that on this AI video? Because now it's confused. I just want to change this one little thing, or the spelling was wrong, and then it has to regenerate the whole video, and it does it in a weird way, and it's not the same. And so there's all these like technical complexities that I think go along in the stuff that we do as far as creative work, where I don't think it's nuanced or as controllable as hopefully it'll get down the road.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I have enough of a challenge if I ask ChatGPT to create a single image and then I
Hmm.
want it to change it, and I'll say like take that exact image
Yeah.
and change this one thing, and 5 minutes later, it's a completely different image. I'm like,
Right. It's
I
like, what did
told
you not
you,
understand?
yeah, I told you to take that exact image and just change this one thing. So I can't imagine with you if you had an entire video
Right.
that would lead to challenge.
Yes, totally. And again, I think right now, especially for some design things, it's like, we've had to like bring in some photos, and it's again, Nano Banana is really good at this right now, where it's like, hey, remove this fence from this photo, and it
Mhm.
boom, it can take the photo, and then you can pull that back into your Photoshop or your other editing program and tweak some things. But especially as far as the video side of things, I think there's still a lot of work there before I would feel comfortable like charging a client some sort of project fee to create something that was all in AI. And then the other thing we do, we do a lot of podcasting. So, we help people create content on a consistent basis. And through podcasting, we help manage shows and, come up with creative ideas and things like that. And with podcasting, I think there's an element of that people want to connect with other people. And I'm starting to see so many of these AI generated videos that are product reviews and tours of places, and you hear that kind of that emotionless voice over, and then you see this text on screen, and there's just something about that I just don't trust, and I just scroll past it because I'm like looking for a human being that's going to make a review about that location or that destination or that product, and I don't think that's going to go away. If anything, I think that human content is going to become more and more of a premium, because as other countries and third worlds and everybody starts coming online, being able to create all this AI generated content, people are going to want to seek more of that genuine human connection.
Yeah, I agree, and it'll be interesting to see, at some point, like, we'll start questioning, well, I don't know this guy Peter, but he says he's doing a podcast with me. Is he real or is he
Right.
AI? And
Yeah.
vice versa, like maybe Mark is an AI. So it'll be interesting when it gets to that point, and then how do we certify that no, that's actually a person you're talking to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be wild. I mean, and like I said, I mean, I'm really interested to see what things are going to be like in the next 3 to 5 years. I think
Mm.
we're gonna have some sort of revolution. I don't know what kind it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah. So have you found things that you can't do, like not that you won't, like, full video, but things that you just haven't found the technology to do yet?
I mean, not necessarily. Again, like I said, we use AI a lot for voiceover work, especially for social content where it's like something that's very has a short shelf life, and is going to maybe show up in a feed and then be done, and it's not going to be evergreen content. We'll use voiceover, AI voiceover for that kind of stuff. But then when we have like a longer video or something that's going to be more evergreen, I found that kind of using that AI voice just doesn't carry that same weight as an actual voiceover artist does, and actor. And so, that's kind of one area that, that I feel like it's not really there 100%. And then I'm trying to think of other aspects of our business and things that we do. Um, I have a friend, and he started using an AI assistant to
Hmm.
like do all of his scheduling and things like that. And you email the guy, and then it comes back with, hey, thank you for the email. Here's 5 times that Jeff can, and it's starting to feel a little bit like, when you call for customer support, and it's like, hit one for this. You're like, speak to a representative. I just
Yeah.
want to speak to a representative. And it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. And you're just like pounding the zero. Like, I don't, and so I feel like it's kind of gonna get to that place where everybody's gonna have AI answering their things and doing all this stuff. And at some point, you're just like, I just need a human to have some nuanced conversation about, because as amazing as these large language models are, there's only so much information it can reference based off of what was input into it, right? So it's like, okay,
Right.
great, yeah, you put all the Q&A from the company, you put all the blah 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 from the company, right? But it's like, okay, I have this very nuanced question where I got this product and this bolt on the left side of the thing on the bottom undercarriage isn't, going on properly. Why is that, right? And it's like, oh, well, that's not in my data set to like reference to give you an answer to that. And so it's like, oh, if I had a human being, they'd be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, that thing, and so yeah, I hope that it doesn't turn into just a bunch of, AI bots emailing everybody and answering all the questions. And, you know, I don't know, maybe that will be good. And then we can all just live on a grassy knoll and just eat honey and cheese and, wear white robes and just
Yeah, but
frolic in the fields.
we still need something to keep us intellectually challenged. We still need something out there for us to do.
Well, I think we were designed to work, as human beings. I think there's an element of as much as you think that you just want to be on vacation every day, all day, after a while, vacation becomes a job. It's like all of a sudden you're bored and you
Mhm.
want to have some sort of purpose. And I think that having work, no matter what kind of work that is, it brings that purpose. And so I don't think I'll ever stop working. It's like I don't really think about retirement, but in the same way, I can't imagine just doing nothing,
Yeah.
at some point. So
So, so looking forward to the next, 1 to 2 years, what areas of your business do you think that AI will impact that it's not impacting now, and are you doing anything to prepare for that?
I don't know. I think that definitely, my business will be impacted as as video gets better and better, right? And the tools that they use are really simple. I think that might impact our business in a negative way of people being like, oh, I can just do this with AI. I mean, even tools like, I mean, you look at like Riverside, right? It's like a great tool for podcast recording, but there's so much nuance to recording an episode, creating a thumbnail, writing a description. And like AI can help you do all these things, but it still takes you time and effort, energy to make sure to
Mhm.
do that. And then to have the longevity or energy to like do it over and over and over again. And so I think for me, the way that I look at it is that, our business is there's always going to be a need for what we do. The tools might get easier and easier for people to use, but I think that there's some human elements that we provide as a business that I don't think AI is going to be able to take over. Um, and for me, I'm hoping that the tools get so good, and then maybe I can even offer something like social media management where the AI tool that we use is so good at generating posts and writing content, stuff like that, that then I can just outsource all that to AI and start offering that kind of service because it doesn't require too much of a lift for our team to kind of manage that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, just to start wrapping things up, what do you want people who might hire you to know about you and your firm?
Um, I don't know, we're awesome.
Okay, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah. I mean, really, at Brand Viva, our goal is to surprise and delight, get to yes, and leave people off better than we found them, and then have a little fun in doing that, And so, we really try to take the headache out of content creation. We really take the burden off of consistency, and so I hope that anyone who is looking for podcast content creation or video content, that they would just give us a call. So, yeah.
Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on the show and giving us some of your words of wisdom and insight.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see you somewhere else on the internet.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm posting constantly, LinkedIn or, I have a show called The Friday Habit that comes out every week.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so I'm always online, always posting.
Awesome.
Top of mind
All
is
right.
first in line when it comes to business.
There you go. There you go. Cool. Well, take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, Peter. Thanks.